Hi, and welcome to Best Tesla, to another review of an electric car. So you can get a Tesla's fanboy's perspective of yet another competitor. And today we are driving in the Mazda MX30. And when you look at this big car, you might be surprised what this car is actually a competitor to. But first, let's take it for a spin.
So I took the Mazda MX30 for a spin, and it was kind of a nice car, but on the other hand, really not. But I'll get into all of that. But the price of the car is really good. It started at 250,000 Danish crowns, about $40,000. Again, as I said before, remember cars in Denmark are pretty expensive. So if you would ever get this one in the US, for example, it would be much cheaper. Remember, the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus cost about $68,000 here in Denmark. The same car cost about $36,000 in the US. So the Mazda would probably not cost more than $25,000 in the US if it would ever come to the US. And this is the kind of price that I would really have liked to see the Volkswagen ID.3 starting at. That was really my biggest issue with the ID.3, that it was too expensive for what you got. Because the price is not far off of the starting price of a Tesla Model 3, but you just get so much more car with the Tesla Model 3 than the ID.3. But the Mazda is much cheaper yet again, so that is very good, it seems. But we will get back to that. And the inside feels really nice, really well made. Mazda knows how to make quality cars. It feels really luxurious inside, much better than the ID.3 in my opinion, that felt more like plastic and really cheaply made inside. This one feels very good, and for an SUV I think this is looking pretty nice. But I really don't think the doors are such a good idea. You can't get in the back without opening the front doors. And the back door is a very tiny door. As a family man with 2 children, that would just be a pain. That they can't jump in the back without opening the front door? It is a bit of a weird design if you ask me. I know Mazda have done a design like this before, many years ago, but I kind of thought they would have learned it wasn't really a practical design, but I guess I was wrong. But the safety design of the car is good. It has got a 5-star rating in the Euro NCAP, so that is very good. So a safe car to drive with your family. Not as safe as a Tesla Model 3 though. They both have got 5 stars, but Tesla has better scores in every category. So it is a good safe car, but just not as good as a Tesla. But it doesn't handle that well on windy roads. It feels a bit wobbly. I think the ID.3 actually felt much better on the road. The Mazda feels like it struggles a bit just to stick to the road with its only front-wheel drive, even though there is not much power. So not the best driving car, but looks nice both on the inside and outside. Of course, I still think the navigation system looks like something straight out of the 90s. But that is just how it looks in most cars. I'm just used to Tesla's navigation system, and that is just up and beyond anything out there and makes everything else look outdated. But we cannot escape talking about the elephant in the room.
We need to acknowledge the elephant in the room.
The range. The Mazda MX30 only comes with a 35 kilowatt-hour battery and therefore only have a range of 200 kilometers. Nope, not miles, kilometers, VLTP. So it would get about 115 miles of EPA range in the US. Exactly. Mazda's excuse for making this battery so small is because the environmental impact that making the batteries has. So they would not make it bigger than they have to. Yeah, maybe you should worry more about the 1.5 million polluting ICE cars you are selling every year, instead of being afraid of the environmental impact of batteries for your 500 electric cars that you will produce in the UK. Yes, 500 in the UK. I am sorry, it has just been shown by so many environment consoles, including independent ones here in Denmark, which has shown that after just 30,000 kilometers, an EV will become neutral with the ICE car in the CO2 emission, including the battery production. And that is what most people drive in a year here in Denmark. So the rest of its life, maybe 10 to 15 years, it will make much less CO2 emission than an ICE car. And I don't even think they have taken into calculation the CO2 emission that goes into producing the gasoline. Getting it up from deep underground, maybe out of sea, transporting it into land, making it into usable gasoline and transporting it around the world to the gas stations. Because they do include all the mining and everything for the EV, but many leaves out the production of gasoline. And of course, ICE cars pollute the air in your neighborhood. So overall, ICE cars are just so much worse for the environment than an EV. Period. So for them to take this approach for why their EV does not have more range is just a bit of a joke, when they at the same time are producing 1.5 million polluting ICE cars. But anyway, this car is practically just a city car. Mazda even themselves write on their website, optimal range for the life in the city. So why have they made an SUV to be a city car? It's a bit weird. Wouldn't have been better to make the Mazda 2 into an electric car? That would be a much better city car. I know SUVs are very popular, but not as city cars, but as family cars. And this is a small SUV. And a normal European family would not like this car. It is just too small. Only 340 liters of trunk and no frunk and no room inside. If I'm in my normal driving position in the front seat, there are no room for passenger in the back seat. Like, impossible. And there is no tow hitch, and you know how much that means for us Europeans. And there is just no range. This is just a very weird car, a city car that wants to be an SUV, because this kind of changes everything and makes the value of the car change. Because 250,000 is a good price for a car that most people can afford here in Denmark, but with only 200 kilometers VLTP range, this is truly just a city car. But why not get a real city car then, like the very popular Renault Zoe? It has a 52 kilowatt hour battery and has a range of 393 kilometers, 245 miles VLTP. And this car is even cheaper than the Mazda. It is a $220,000 car, about $35,000, so you would save about $5,000 and get twice the range. And these two cars are very similar on all the other specs, like a 0 to 100 kilometers in 9.5 seconds. Yes, not that fun. A top speed of only 140 kilometers an hour for both cars. So both are not so exciting to drive, but they're just city cars, so they don't really need to be. But again then, why should you get the MX30 over the Zoe? And both the Zoe and the MX30 can't charge with more than 50 kilowatt. So no real fast charging on a road trip, but again, this car is really not made for road trips anyway. They are city cars. But if it was me that had to choose these cars with my own money, I would go for the Zoe hands down. But I would probably never get one of these cars because none of them suit my needs as a family father. No room in the trunk, and even the bigger Mazda doesn't even have a bigger trunk than the Zoe, only like 3 liters or so. Both are about 340 liters. So no room, no tow hitch, no range, no fast charging, and that is what I'm looking for in my electric family car. And the boy inside of me, of course, are looking for something fun to drive. And I don't get that with the Mazda MX30, but I get all of that in my Tesla Model 3. So the Mazda MX30 is a really weird car, a city car disguised as an SUV with less range than most electric city cars, smaller than most SUVs, and don't have the features you would normally get with a big SUV. So it is just too expensive for what you get. I think this car is only being made so that Mazda will not get big fines in Europe because of the lack of low-emission vehicles, and for them to wave the flag and make some advertising of just how environmental friendly they are, and they are in the electric car race too. So it looks nice, both inside and outside. Mazda knows how to make good-looking cars and quality-built cars both in and out, and it drives like a city car. But I just can't recommend this car, because even the little Renault Zoe is a better city car for less money, with twice the range. So I can't really see this car being any kind of big success, because there are just better and cheaper options on the market already. And with the amount that Mazda expects to sell of this car, I don't think they expect it to be some kind of success either. So Mazda MX30, I'm sorry, but this car is mostly just a joke. It feels nice inside, it looks pretty, it's a decent car, but just a very bad electric car. And even when I had been out test driving the car and came back to the dealership and I handed the keys back to the salesperson and I said, well, that drive pretty well. And the response was, yeah, for an electric piece of crap, it does pretty good. And that was it. He didn't want to sell this car and couldn't care less about electric cars. So I hope Mazda will get their act together and come out with something that is actually useful in real life. Maybe a Mazda 2 as an electric city car, and then come out with something that actually works in real life for a family, with good specs and good price. Because I have had Mazdas before and have always liked them, but Mazda is very late to the game of electric vehicles, and their first shot was definitely a miss. And I would really like to see Mazda sticking around, and the future is going electric, so if they don't come out with something much better soon, I'm afraid it is just too late. Because MX30 is one of the worst performing electric cars on the market. And that is not good. Because this car is not helping the electric revolution. It is actually fighting it. Because it is just yet another electric car where all the haters will say, yeah, but just look at the MX30. You can't use that in real life. There's just too many compromises if you want to go electric. And that is just not true. Well, it's true about the MX30 and therefore it's fighting the electric revolution, but it's not true about electric cars. A good electric car is still superior to a comparable ICE car. But many people just don't experience that when they get out and try something like the MX30. And that's a shame. But as always, it's good to be back.
Yep, still a Tesla fanboy.
And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.